I got caught up in a bit of road madness and I got stabbed in it. I got stabbed with a screwdriver in my eye, like just above my tear duct, and it went 13 centimeters into my brain.
Okay.
And that caused me to have a stroke. And I was in a coma for 8 days, woke up out of the coma and didn't really have no didn't have no speech, didn't have no use of my limbs or anything. You get what I'm trying to say?
Wow.
So I was conscious only with my eyes open. It was a struggle to move my head and, just stuff like that. The next 10, 11 months was me trying to get back on my feet. So yeah, it was a hard time for me, but them times you find out who you are as well. You know what I'm trying to say? You got a lot of time to be on your own.
You're listening to Journey to Fatherhood, a podcast that inspires and equips men to becoming more intentional and feeling more supported on the journey to fatherhood. Why wait to become a father before learning how to be a good one? My name is Chinedum Wenaya, a young man also on his journey with a desire to help men become great fathers despite their past personal experiences. I'll be sitting with different guests to bring you great value, sharing their knowledge and their experiences as we all embark on this amazing journey. This podcast, though targeted towards men, ladies, you will also gain great value from the conversations. Now, without further ado, let the journey begin.
For those listening, for the guests listening, for the listeners and the viewers, I want to begin by just introducing you to today's guest. His name is Temitayo. And I just want you to take this time to just sit down and listen to his story, because I've known him for a few years, but we lost contact for quite some time and recently regained contact in the last 2-3 years. And in that time, I've just been seeing him display such a great presence as a father, because unfortunately in our generation, we tend to have people that don't take that responsibility to even be there for their kids. And I just love what he's been able to do as a father. I've seen his posts, I've seen his the way he's interacted with his child, and I just had to have him on the podcast because I know there's so much more story in that, and I believe that it will be an encouragement and inspiration to people that are coming on the podcast, that will be listening to the podcast. I always ask all the guests this question: what does fatherhood mean to you? Like the word fatherhood. If you had to take some time to answer that, if someone came to you and said, "What do you think fatherhood means?" What would you say about that?
Fatherhood, to me, it means being there for your son, no matter what the circumstance. Or your son, daughter, or whatever. Fatherhood is something sacred to a lot of people.
I've seen what you posted. We had brief conversations, but I know that you're not just physically there; you're also emotionally there, literally caring for your child. And so I want to know, because so many people can say, well, when I was growing up, I never had this, so that's why I can't be present as a father. And some people can say I was present, I had a father that was present, but I can't be. So my question to you, let's take it all the way back. Temitayo, back in, let's say at the age of 11, in your teenage years, in your young years, how was your relationship with your father growing up?
It was good. It was good. Like, my dad that at church ain't my biological father. You know what I'm saying? My biological father lodged when I was a baby. Before I was one, innit? So by the age of that 7 or 8, before my next little brother came, I found out somehow, I was a smart kid, I found out that my dad that ain't my biological father, innit?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? But he's always been that father figure to me and treated me as one of his own, and you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So he is, to me, my biological father, but he's not actually blood.
So that's interesting. You said something very interesting that you found out as a kid. Well, how did you, because I know obviously eventually you just kind of put that aside, but how did that How did you respond to that when you found out? What was that like?
I was sad, but as a kid, you not even as an adult, you process information now. You process it in it. Like you sad, but life goes on.
So from the time, because you said it's good that your dad right now, that's been present, who actually deserves the title of father. What you said, the relationship was good. What was it like? If you could describe it in terms of, was he physically there, emotionally there? What kind of lessons did you learn from him all through?
I wouldn't. He was physically there in the sense of he was always present, but maybe not emotionally. I don't think I had that connection, that father-son connection. I think our relationship was lacking in that father-son connection, but he never did anything to make me feel out of way. You know what I'm saying? He would always leave my mum to discipline me. He never beat me. You get what I'm trying to say? Right. So I couldn't not like him because of anything like that. Or you get what I'm trying to say? It was always.
This is interesting because it now leads up to something that I kind of want to discuss. You said that he was there physically, well, maybe not so much emotional, or from your understanding. I kind of want to ask more on that because obviously the teenage years of a man, for example, if your father's not there, there's so many things that can go wrong emotionally, I mean. So I kind of wanted to go back to the fact that your father was present, which is what most people don't have. Most people don't even know who their fathers are, or don't even have their fathers in their life. So for that, I applaud your dad for even being there, because that's important to have that father figure in your house growing up. Now I wanted to kind of take it back to your teenage years. Talk to us about the teenage years. What was that like growing up as a young man? Because I know the area that you lived in, the area we both lived in, I lived in a very rough area as well. But what was that like growing up for you? What was Temitayo as a teenager?
Yeah, anybody that knew me back then would know I was heavily involved in roads.
Yeah. Explain to our international audience what road means.
Roads, I don't know, criminality of some sort. I would say road is, but in my sense, I'm talking about carrying food with me, carrying drugs with me where I went in most places, carrying a knife with me where I went most places, just, trying to say for protection as well as, if I see opposition, I might get them down, just get brainwashed at a young age, you do silly things, but yeah, that was real, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting to say that because so many people don't make it past that. So many people don't make it through that to even survive to become adults.
Yeah, and I almost didn't make it past that. I got stabbed at 19.
Talk to us about that for people just listening now.
Yeah, I got stabbed in the eye with a screwdriver. Went 13 centimeters into my brain.
I didn't know it was a screwdriver. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But the thing about it is, what I actually wanted to focus not on how it happened, but in terms of how it changed, because I just want you to repeat the story. I think this was the one that caused you to go into a coma, right?
Yeah.
So through that time, I'm really interested to know, because I know some of the young boys that listen to this are even below 21. And I believe that you making it out of that time and becoming the father that you are can be an inspiration to them. So tell me how that changed your view of life, because just running through again, you had that incident that happened, you went into a coma for about 8 days, right?
Yeah.
And then how long did it take for you to start walking and things like that?
About a year.
A whole year?
Yeah, because it was like it's mad because it's a brain injury, innit? So brain injuries are a lot more complex than any other sort of injury to the part of your body, or because so much is unknown about the brain as well still. So it's like my speech was impaired for so long.
Okay.
My right hand side of my body is still impaired. It's a lot slower than my left hand side of the body. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just it's a long lasting thing, innit? So I'm still not back to 100% now, but you know what I'm trying to say is
you're doing better than most people that are.
Long recovery, yeah. Then it happened when I was so young and I was so fit at the time. And might be a different outcome.
Because I remember when, to be honest, I don't remember when you were ever shorter than me, but I don't. My memory of you is always being taller than me, and I know you got into basketball and things like that. I think you even talked about you used to play under 17s, right?
Yeah, I played under 18s for England, London Towers. Yeah.
So you got that athletic part of you, and for me, let's dig into a bit more the lessons learned, because I believe that I was having this conversation with a friend of mine. I was saying that a lot of people just, when they say I'm a man or this is a man, I always say being a man is not just about your gender. I think it comes from a place where it switches on for you mentally, and you become mature, take responsibility, and take action and own things that you do and own things like your own life. For me, I'm really interested in the mind shift after all of that happened. Was there a transformation, or how did your thinking change after all of that?
That took a while still. My thinking only changed once I left hospital and I got into the real world and I saw that there's a lot more to life in it. Because I didn't know what my recovery was going to be like, and then after I kind of knew, you know what I'm saying, I wasn't going to get much better or anything. Got on with life, you know.
But this is why, because I know there's so many people that listen right now and they've been involved in something or something like that. What would be your message to those people listening? So those guys or those people that may know people that are, as you call it, on road or things like that?
My message would be, I don't know, weigh up that the pros and cons in it. That the pros and cons would be, the pro would be you would get a quick bag or two, a quick couple bags, a quick 9 bar or a box or something, or some quick fix, or you gotta try to say a quick bit of money. But that the cons could be you're away from your family for years, or you're left with a long-lasting disability like me, or it's not really worth it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like when at the time you didn't think of the pros and cons at 18, 17 and that.
How old is your child now? Your son? How old?
4.
So what's the last 4 years been like? Because I know every father, the first time they find out they're going to become a father, it's like a shock and reality where you're like, okay, I need to get ready. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I was happy I was getting a son. I was happy, it wasn't much of a shock. And yeah, the last 4 years have been splendid.
What have been the challenges as a father? Has there been any challenges in terms of maybe the way you think about life or the way you relate with your son? What have you kind of learned in the last 4 years as a father?
I've learned patience.
Mm.
Yeah, patience is. Obviously, this might sound a bit silly, and you might think I should have learned this earlier, but I've learned a bit more to take a breath or two before acting or before speaking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Think
Absolutely,
about it.
I understand.
Because in a way, you think, oh, you're meant to know that from secondary school. I got in trouble a lot for secondary school for impulsive behavior and stuff like that. You know what I'm trying to say? They label me as having ADHD and stuff like that. But that with your seed, you want you wanna give them the best of the best in it. If I'm making sense in it.
No, you're making so much sense.
Yeah, if there may, because nobody's perfect in it. There may be a day where you're a bit snappy. Like, I don't know, you woke up, things are going wrong in the day. Someone asks you for something, you're like, yeah, wait, man. You gotta try to say you like that, and he waits. Everything's cool, but you think to yourself, shouldn't have spoke to him, man. Should have been.
Yeah.
You gotta try to say that, and. Yeah, man, it's just the innocence of children and the way they they are not so submissive, yeah, but just you know what I'm trying to say, the way they would.
They're open to learning, listening.
Yeah, the way that they're open to being not treated like the way you want to treat them, but the way they're open to just live the way you're living. If it's good, whether it be good or bad, before they know whether it's good. Yeah, and they follow you, and it's just you want your kids to grow up with all of the best memories. You don't want him to think of you as the the snappy dad or something. Yeah,
that's really good. I think for me, it's just good to see more people talking about it, because I know there's often this idea of, unfortunately, in our background, in a lot of times we find guys that have kids but just ignore they just aren't involved. And I can't stress it enough. I have so much respect for you for hanging in there, because irrespective of all the challenges, when a father decides to stay in the life of their child, they're making a bigger investment that they could do with anything else. And I'm not even just saying it because we're talking, but I really salute you for doing that, because I'm sure, like you said, your patience must have been tested a lot of times, and things that you could think about things in the past, and just maybe the fact that you're having this responsibility, but the fact that you're still there and taking that responsibility, being present, being involved in your child's life. I can't but say a great well done to you on that. I really respect that, because hand on heart, it's tough. I'm not even a father, but I already know that I'm sure there are days that are tough. So for you to still power through it, it's more than just what anyone can say. And this is why I really wanted to have you here, because I believe in the midst of listening to this, there are so many guys, unfortunately, that still think they have to be toxic in their masculinity. Like they don't have to be involved in these things, or even admit to areas of patience and things like that. And this is why I feel we need more people speaking about these things, because we talked about that you've had that life experience where it was a very critical time, and I thank God that you made it through it all. And so many people, they make it through it all, but they end up going back, and they never quite learn, unfortunately, and unfortunately some of them aren't here anymore. And this is why I really respect all that you've accomplished and all that you're going to keep on doing with your son. And I just wanted to kind of ask you, so what would be your advice to fathers right now? Young fathers in our age range.
My advice would be that you just need to listen and be there for your son and for the mother of your child. Obviously, if she's toxic, you know she's toxic. But even if she's toxic, you're gonna have to part with it and find a way to work around it, because she's got your child and you can't change that now. You know what I'm trying to say? But if she's not toxic, you have to listen to what they both bring to you, because you're the head of the house, innit? And you have to give it appropriate action and appropriate thought before action as well. because you'll do something, and because you're the head of the house and they come to you for advice, you'll give them advice, and if it goes wrong, they're coming back to you saying the advice you've given me is.
I think you touched upon something interesting there, because you're touching upon leadership. And I think, unfortunately, I think so many people don't realize that there's so much power as a father. And it just like leading a group of people back in the days when it was whatever, people that just want that authority or that responsibility to be respected and things like that. There is also that in the role as a father. So for people that stick on, there's also so much responsibility. Like you said, you got to give them the right advice, because if it doesn't go right, they'll come back to you. But it's a beautiful thing that people need to cherish. And this is why I can't stress it enough. We need more guys talking about what it feels like to be a father. Because I think some people even enter into it just thinking, nah, I just wanted my son to play for Arsenal, or hopefully not Arsenal, but Chelsea or something like that. And they just think about those fun times, and they don't realize there's also responsibility and a lot of sometimes pressure to it, but it's worth it.
Yeah, no, there's times, especially when your son reaches, like, once they go beyond the terrible twos, once they start reaching 3 and 4, there's times where they actually actively try and get you angry, and they're good at it. You get what I'm trying to say? And just undermine your authority, or just, you get what I'm trying to say? You're telling them to do something. They're like, no, yeah, and they're testing it. And and those times there are the times where you have to show the most restraint, innit? And you get me?
But yeah, I just wanted to kind of carry on with that in terms of what the skills you learn, the lessons you learn, holding yourself back for your child and doing those things. So for my thing will be then, now in your current state, what, I know no one knows the future, but what would you aspire for your child as a father, to your child in the next coming years? What are your wishes and goals for him?
I just want my kid to be happy.
Say that one more time.
I just want him to be happy. If he's not doing nothing too outlandish, I just want him to be happy. If he's happy, then I'll try to get him into a sport or something and keep his recreational time busy, innit? Right. Not just with academic stuff like after school club and stuff, fun things, you know?
Yeah.
Because they're putting, there's things out there to do, but I didn't think as first generation British, my parents as immigrants over to this country didn't grasp all of the things that they could get me to do with my time. So I was on road a lot and stuff like that. Not to say my kid's not gonna have friends at school that he's gonna want to go chill out on road with and stuff, but if he's got commitments that he's been doing since he was in primary school, key stage 1, key stage 2, that I think they're gonna weigh a bit more strongly on his minds to go and continue these commitments. And you gotta try to say,
absolutely,
just things like that.
And I think that's what's important. I like the way you said you want your child to be happy, and even whilst you're saying, you lit up, you were smiling a lot, and it just goes to show that there's so much joy. There's something like, I'm not a father, so I can't say it from my experience, but from speaking and interviewing a lot of fathers, like when they talk about their kids, they lighten up. It's a sense of joy because they genuinely want the best for them. And I can tell
when I speak to him and he says hello, I smile, and just hearing his voice or seeing him just brightens you up, don't it?
Listen, it's a beautiful thing, and God willing, when the time's ready, I can finally take that step as well. But it's just great to know that in spite of everything, you want the best for your child. And like you said, you just want him to be happy. And it takes different forms, but the fact that you're there to guide him as well, that makes it more possible. It's a higher likelihood that he will be happy because you're there and you've learned from your experience and you just want the best for him. I know I already said it, but real respect to you, man.
Thank
Real
you.
respect to you, because even in this time, there's still distractions left, right, and center. But for you to be a father that's doing well for your son, that's commendable.
Thank you.
That's commendable. And we need to, I know you're not in London anymore, but we need to set up something. Maybe I come over or you come over. I haven't seen you in almost.
Yeah, definitely.
Is it 8 years now or 9 years?
So, yeah.
2012. What
almost
was that?
a decade. Yeah, 2012. Yeah, 9 years.
Yeah. But you never know. When next you see me, I might just be taller than you. You know.
Yeah,
Anything
no,
can happen.
That won't happen. It won't happen.
You said it won't happen. I found shoes that have high heels that are for guys.
You mean stilts?
I'm gonna just color it up and you won't even notice the difference. No, but for real, thank you for coming on, and thanks for being real. Thanks for sharing all that you shared, because I believe that there's someone out there that will definitely benefit from this. And
thank you. They do.
I know they will. And for people that may want to get in touch with you, are you okay with them getting in touch with you via what means? Are you via Instagram?
Instagram, commonly known as Lanks, or one word.
Okay. And if you're listening right, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, before you start asking me questions or getting in touch, just say that you're from Journey to Fatherhood.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That clarification first. Yeah,
make that clear and fire away. I'm happy to answer questions.
Absolutely. Just like he said, guys, it's his Instagram name is commonly known as Lanks. I'll put that in the description comment section. But please, if you are getting in touch with him for any fatherly advice or any suggestions, or want to learn more about his experience, make sure you make reference to Journey to Fatherhood in your first message, so that way he knows what you're coming for. But with that being said, I really appreciate your time, Temitayo. It's been great having just catching up with you.
Yeah, it's been great catching up with you too.
Definitely. And
meet up soon, man.
Absolutely. Once, I think everything should be okay. So we'll talk offline. We'll talk off of this and we'll set something up. Definitely. Come bearing gifts that are 4 years old, because I missed it out 4 years ago. But definitely I'll come bearing gifts and we'll just chill and just have a good time, man.
No problem, bro. Have a lovely day.
Definitely. Have a good one. Thanks for coming on again.
Yeah, no problem.
Bless.